Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, you lovely people, whichever one it is for you. Welcome back to Lilywhite Lane. I hope that you're all having a ruddy good Monday and start to your week wherever you are in the world and whatever you are planning to get up to. I do apologise if I sound and look a bit under the weather. Got a bit of man flu at the minute, but that's not going to stop me from coming on here and doing the match debrief the day after Tottenham's latest game, as I always do. So enough faffing about, let's get cracking with this knacking. Tottenham Hotspur 1, Fulham 1. That was the full-time score yesterday at the Lane. A disappointing result from a Spurs perspective, but a deserved one. We did not deserve to pick up all 3 points yesterday. I thought we were slow, I thought we were sloppy, I thought we were lethargic, and let's face it, we were poor. We were really, really poor yesterday. We did not deserve all 3 points. If any side deserved to win it yesterday, it was Fulham, but I don't think they were necessarily brilliant either. I thought it was just a really, really poor game of football, in all honesty. There was no momentum really for either side at any point yesterday, and you know, it shouldn't be like that. We're at home, we've got a chance to move up into the top 4. We've just beaten Manchester City 4-0 in the Premier League. You'd expect us to come out there, as I say, you know, build some consistency, get a big win, get the crowd up for it, score some good goals, but we just didn't. We scored a goal against a run of play. Fulham got their goal, well deserved, and from there for the rest of the game, neither team really looked like scoring. It was just all slow. It all felt a bit weird, you know. It felt like a friendly. It did not feel like a competitive and big Premier League game between Spurs, who were competing for the Champions League and want to win the trophy this season, and Fulham, who were trying to get into Europe, you know. It genuinely felt like a friendly, a game towards the end of the season where both, you know, side seasons are pretty much wrapped up and both know their fate. It just all felt rubbish. The atmosphere seemed very, very poor, you know, from my point of view watching it at home. But I'm not going to blame the fans for that. The fans need something to get them up for it. We've seen this stadium, you know, be rocking before, even in these smaller games, because of what's been going on. Sheffield United we played last season. Sheffield are crap, but because of the fight and desire that the players showed, the fans really got up for it, and that was one of the best atmospheres that we've had in years, that one. So it's not just big games that the crowd get up for, it's when the team start playing well, knocking it about brilliantly, and there was none of that yesterday. So obviously the fans maybe could have done a little bit more, but I'm not going to have a go at those who pay their money. They need to see stuff to get them out of their seat and singing and getting excited about the team, and there was none of that yesterday. There was absolutely none of that. It's just so inconsistent, you know. We can get a result and performance like we did against Manchester City, but then we can follow that up with a result and performance like we got against Roma, and then we can follow that up with a result and performance like we got yesterday. Yes, we haven't lost since that Man City game, but we've dropped points in 2 games that on paper we should have won. Roma struggling in Serie A, we were 2-1 up in the 90th minute, should have won that game, threw it away. Yesterday, 1-0 up despite us not playing well. It's what the top teams do. You don't play well, you hold on to a win, but Spurs couldn't yesterday. We were just really poor. I get that we're missing players, but we had better players than they did, and we should have won the game. And one of the main culprits, in my opinion, for the reason we didn't win the game yesterday is Ange Postecoglou. I think Ange has to take some, to be fair, a lot of the blame, a majority of the blame yesterday. When I saw the lineup, it didn't make sense to me. You're playing against a physical Fulham side. I understand Johnson on the right to attack them with pace, but you want that physical number 9 to get stuck in, maybe flick headers on to Heung-min Son on the left potentially, Werner, Johnson. We put Heung-min Son in the number 9 position though, and it doesn't make sense to me. Whilst he's an unbelievably clinical finisher, that is not his natural position. I would have rather had Lancashire there because he would have done similar things to what Solanke did. Instead, we looked a different side up top, especially to what we have done for a lot of this season. We carried pretty much no threat throughout the game. We never really looked like troubling them apart from the goal. Son of that chance early, but yeah, you know, I get he's a clinical finisher, Son, but I think he's far better on the wing, and I just don't think he's a number 9. At times last season it worked, but towards the end of the season I thought that most of us as fans realised that it wasn't working, that we need that physical pressing number 9 like a Solanke. And Lancashire, whilst he may not have put in as good of a performance as Solanke has done for a lot of this season, Lancashire would have done similar things. He would have, as I say, not forced us to change the way we play and attack teams up top. But playing Son there did, and it just didn't make a lot of sense. Johnson and Werner weren't terrible, to be honest, but you didn't have that, you know, target man in the middle for them to aim for. So when we were attacking for them, there were a lot of misplaced passes because there were no real runs centrally or options centrally. So yeah, it was a poor decision. in my opinion, to put Son in the 9. I get that Solanke, well, not injured, is unwell, and that's bad luck, obviously. But I think we could have dealt with that situation better than we did. Kulusevski on the bench. I don't get that either. You're playing against a physical side, again, talking about attacking them centrally. Kulusevski and Solanke hold up the ball brilliantly and do a lot of the hard work in the middle of the pitch. We didn't have either of them, and therefore we carried no threat in the middle of the pitch, and we looked, so easy to open up in the midfield as well. Kulusevski, I think he's been our best player this season. When he came on, he looked better than a lot of those players on the pitch. He was unreal against Manchester City, decent against Roma. I think it was stupid to bench him. I really do. We're hearing that it wasn't a knock or injury, so why is he not starting? Why is he not starting alongside Maddison? If you're going to drop either of them, drop Maddison, but I'd prefer to play them both after the performance that they put in last weekend. But yeah, no Kulusevski. Obviously, you can't do a lot about the centre-backs due to injury in other positions, but Kulusevski on the bench, I've lost my train of thought. Kulusevski on the bench, Solanke, unwell and Son in the 9. The lineup didn't make a lot of sense to me. And then Fulham go down to 10 men late, and this is what pissed me off, right? When a team goes down to 10, what do you want to do? You want to start moving it quickly, and you want that player on the pitch who can exploit the space. Maddison is the best player on the pitch to do that, right? He will play those passes, he will create that space for others, and you take him off for a player like Bergvall, who's really lacking confidence, who hasn't really done anything in competitive games for Spurs. It just doesn't make any sense to me. A lot of the decisions made no sense. The substitution for Maddison, especially when they went down to 10 men, the lineup, it was all a bit strange from Ange Postecoglou yesterday. And this is why I am not fully behind this manager, because he's capable of getting it absolutely bang on. The City game, the United game, the West Ham game, the Villa game. But he's also capable a week later of making stupid decisions tactically, making silly substitutions at the wrong time, too late, or not at all. And for all those who are coming after me, as I say, for criticising him, this is why I do it. I want him to succeed like any other Spurs manager, but I do not have full faith in this gaffer. I do not have full faith in this manager, because he is not doing anything consistently. Tactically, he's not consistent. When it comes to his substitutions, he's not consistent. And results-wise, he's not consistent. So how am I meant to get behind someone who's not consistent whatsoever with a group of players that he said he believes can go for the league title and that he's happy with at the end of the summer window, Us as fans need to stop going after each other as well. There are many people who are Angein in this fan base. I'm not going to attack them and say where are all the Angein lot and all the backers of Ange Postecoglou, because you're entitled to your own opinion. Just like I don't believe I or many others who don't fully back this manager should be attacked for having an opinion. A valid one in my opinion. It's not fact, but it's my opinion. So when we win a game, you get loads of fans, as I say, coming after me and many others saying, you doubted Ange. These videos look stupid now where you've questioned Ange in the direction that we're going. And it's like, hang on a second. As good as the City result was, it hasn't changed my whole perspective on the football club. And the last week has shown that. I believe this arguing amongst each other in the fan base, we need to come together and acknowledge the biggest problem at the football club. And that's the man up top. That's the chairman. That's Daniel Levy, Egghead himself. Matey boy from Austin Powers. I forget his name, Mini-Me. So, there's so much arguing amongst each other in this fan base that I find it ridiculous. When we win a game, you've got a group of fans who, coming on Twitter and YouTube and saying, where's all the Ange outlaw now, and vice versa. When we lose a game, where are all the Ange backers now? You're all delusional. Both who take it to the extreme are knobheads. Everyone's entitled to their own opinion. Opinions are like arseholes. Everyone's got one. Mine is that Ange Postecoglou, as I say, is probably not the right man for the job. I'm not 100% on that. I'm not saying it's factual, because it's not. It's an opinion. But I do not back this manager or trust him because of how inconsistent his decisions are. I want him to be successful, though. If you're, opposite to my opinion, if you have a different opinion, if you are behind Ange, fair enough. Why can't we just live together and go, okay, fair enough, you like Ange, I don't like Ange. Let's move on with our lives. But there you go. Look, a few individual performances that concerned me yesterday were the wing-backs. I thought Pedro Porro and Udogie were really, really poor. Two players who have been fairly consistent for us over the last couple of years, fairly consistently good, and they were bad yesterday. They were really, really bad. I think the whole team looked half-assed, but they were giving the ball away pretty much every single time they got it. I mean, dodgy performances from them. Obviously, we were missing a few players. We've got Bournemouth on Thursday now. Hopefully, as I say, a few of those players are back. Maybe one of the centre-backs in Solanke. I'd take that in all honesty. And hopefully we get a result there, because we lose that and we lose to Chelsea, all of a sudden we could end up like 12th or 13th. Aston Villa, for example, they were only, 4th a few weeks ago? They're 12th right now. It's so congested from 2nd to 12th at the minute. And the fact we're not building any consistency means we could just as easily drop out of the top 10 as we could get into the top 4. So hopefully a win against Bournemouth. Hopefully we bounce back. Positives, I would say Fraser Forster's performance was fantastic. Really, really good. Fair play to him. The tree trunk himself, the fridge freezer. Wasn't that confident in him in goal, but he's proven me wrong thus far. Fantastic from him yesterday. And the fact that we got a point. It's not a loss, it's a point. Go on now to beat Bournemouth. Go on now to beat Chelsea. You look at that point as maybe a more positive one. Guys, I'm going to head off. Take care of yourselves. All the best. And as always, come on you Spurs.